The other request we got was for if there's any interest or willingness for the town to spray the natural products for tick and flea removal on the property. And I said I thought that was unlikely, but I would certainly pass the request along.
So somebody was requesting to spray Perrin Park.
Yes.
So I just want to share that this is coming from a flood of local franchises that seem to be advertising spraying for mosquitoes and ticks. And I've had at least 5 people come knock on my door to offer their services. And I've already alerted the Department of Health about my concern about this. And I don't understand where it's coming from, but these are franchised organizations. And they take out hawkers licenses to go door to door. And so I'm concerned because I've spoken with these kids. They love it when they knock on my door. They have no idea what they're selling. They're selling permethrin. They call it a safe synthetic derived from chrysanthemum. But it's permethrin. It's pyrethroids. It's the same thing that we spray with. So I think as a community, I'm almost wondering, and that must be the same thing. It's probably a homeowner who has bought this service and now thinks that it would be good to spray on a public land. So there's a real education need here. I also question whether I don't know who gives the hawkers licenses, but does the town issue the hawkers licenses? Because the police do. So maybe that is another point of possibility here, because I would say there's a deluge. That's been my experience. I don't know if anybody else is having a deluge of this.
Yes.
Yeah. Really? And the flyers, I've been saving the flyers too. I have like 6 or 7 flyers.
So Brandon was mentioning they were going to spray a natural organic.
Well, this is it. They call it that.
Right.
They say
That's the
that it's
permethrin?
yeah.
That's
It's
what the state uses for
misrepresentation.
mosquitoes as well. So you can opt out of that program, but in my neighborhood, I've seen the foggers at work. It just drifts right over.
Yeah.
I don't know specifically the product that this person wanted sprayed.
But it's this is what the hawkers say. They come
Yeah.
and they say, it's a natural product.
Made from
It's
flowers.
a safe synthetic. It's derived from flowers. And then they don't know what it is. And I say, well, do you have to use a yellow flag after you spray it? And they say, yes. And do you have to wear protective gear when you spray it? And they say, I don't spray it. I'm the seller. But somebody comes and he wears protective gear. So it's it's permethrin or something related to it.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine whose daughter was rolling on the grass and ended up at the ER covered in hives. And I don't know if that was a allergic reaction or what, but it's no joke. Yeah.
So maybe we can contact the police, because I don't know if anybody is able to stop. We don't need to give hawking licenses to everybody. I find it harassing, that they really are knocking on my door a lot.
When they knocked on my door, they were saying, all your neighbors have it. They have
Yes.
this spiel. And then I asked some of my neighbors, and they're like, we don't have it. But
I mean, it seems like there's also a secondary issue. Like, okay, let's say they can knock on the door. They got a permit that's legal. But is it legal to knock on the door and not really know what you're selling or not accurately
Misrepresent.
Yes, that's
What about
a
an
whole
article in
nother
the
level.
paper? What about an article in the paper?
I think somebody drafted an editorial for me, thank you, which I haven't
I know you've been sick.
done anything on yet. I mean, I'm happy to write a letter to the editor, to the Townsman, but I don't know that that's going to... I've done them on many things. I feel like that's why I actually think, and maybe I should renew the question with the Department of Health, because it's a health concern, and they shouldn't be doing this voluminous amount of spraying, and it has health consequences. People are legitimately concerned about insect-borne illness, and I am fine with that, but this is not the solution,
I agree, at one of the most popular parks in town
Yeah.
with dogs, and it is not a good idea, in my opinion.
So the answer to this is clearly no. But there is a bigger issue,
Yep.
which we've all, so, I mean, I'm happy to finish this letter to the editor, but
I
what is a
also
better way to
wonder
do
if a
this?
better way might be to, I mean, they're putting the yellow signs with the little kid and the dog and a big X through it. Should we be reaching out to pediatricians to be talking to patients about this in the same way that you bring your kid to the doctor and they're like, well, does your daughter know your street address and your cell phone number, you know, when they're 5 years old? It's kind of like the basic question that you get asked. And you're like, oh, I gotta, you know, this might be, you know, let's talk about what's on the backyard lawn.
Well, we had a pediatrician in town who was very nice and who hosted our materials. I mean, I haven't followed up with her since then, but it's a good point. I mean, we could try a little more outreach, but I feel like this is like it's a money-making issue. You know, they're selling a product and they've got a vulnerable group of people who are worried about insect-borne illness, and then it's a good combination. It's a good way to make money.
I also think for people that are listening, like if you are concerned about those things, go to the Northeast Organic Farmers Association website and do a little research, because there are treatments, I think, for these things that maybe are organic and are not. But I'm not sure, but there may be
Well, there's
things.
garlic, like they spray
Right,
garlic
right.
also.
You just
Yeah.
take the raw.
Yeah.
Or just what?
You just take garlic raw and then
Yeah.
nothing will touch it.
Well, everybody should be pursuing insect avoidance approaches themselves, tucking your pants into your socks, using DEET on yourself, checking for ticks, not going out at the time of day when mosquitoes are biting the most. I mean, those are proven approaches, but, you know, spraying pesticides on your whole lawn to kill every insect and that have, you know, effects on children and pets does not the solution.
I had a company come the other day for spraying the house for insects. And he said, and he had that same tact. Your neighbors, did they tell you about this? I'm coming tomorrow, or we're going to have someone here tomorrow. And I said, no, I'm not really interested in, you know, the chemicals. And he goes, oh, no, these are all naturally derived. But the next day, there was no one on the street doing the applications, which I thought was really interesting. So, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, didn't you know your neighbors were talking
yeah,
about?
that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They did that with me too. They said so and so
Yeah.
down the street has
That we're-
signed up.
Yeah, that's what it was. Like, can you join in on the rate today? Your neighbors so and so are doing it tomorrow. I'm like, no, I'm not interested.
Okay, well, I'll circle back to Lenny, Izzo, and do you mind checking with the police
No,
if there's something we can do?
Yeah, happy to.
And then I'll write the letter to the townsman. We could, I mean, I feel like all of our natural yard signs, which got a lot of attention, now are not, like mine got broken. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, like the plastic thing that it was sitting in broke and,
Oh, yeah. Then get a bamboo one.
oh, okay.
My bamboo one also got wet.
Oh, you have one.
Mine's on metal now.